I saw a show by Lee Schulman, otherwise known as the Anonymous Project, in Arles Festival, I think in 2018 or 2019. I was very impressed with this. He built a whole house with photographs being part of the house all the way through. I met him after that, we got on very well, and he suggested to do a book together called Deja Vu, where he chose pictures from his archive and put them with pictures from my archive. And that project went very well, and after that he suggested the idea of the film. So we thought about it, and here we are, it's happened. He spent a lot of time with me, he asked me a lot of questions, he found a lot of people to do their voices, talking about me, talking heads if you like. So yeah, he was very serious, very thorough, very professional. Well, my grandfather was a very keen photographer, so way back in the 60s, I went to stay with him in the north of England, and he showed me the camera, he lent me the camera, we went out shooting, processed the film, made prints. So by the age of 13 or 14, I decided I wanted to be a photographer. I'm obsessed with photography. I think if you do anything artistic, you have to be obsessed. So all the time I'm trying to explore different ways of trying to articulate the connection between me and my work with the world out there. So that's a long-term job, so it just goes on and on. So I'm as excited now by it as I was 50 years ago. I mean, most of the time when I'm photographing in the street, I don't need to make them and get a relationship. I don't do that. I do that when I'm doing a portrait. Obviously, you're talking to someone then and you're setting them up, and then we would normally give them a print as well. But for people on the street, there is no real relationship apart from me seeing them and photographing them. It hasn't changed that much. I guess places like beaches are more difficult now to photograph in. You know, if you see children now, you'd have to get permission from their parents. When I did The Last Resort in the 80s, no one really cared about that. So I think it's in situations like that with children that the privacy issue has become a much bigger bit of a problem for us photographers. I think if you're a photographer, you're bound to come across about one person in the 50 who doesn't like being photographed. They think it's against the law, they think it's you can't do it. And basically these days you can just show the picture and delete it and move on, because most of the pictures you take aren't ultimately going to be used for anything, so they're part of the reject. I don't like to get rid of pictures even if they are rejects, but that's what you have to do. It's always fascinating to see how people view your work. So a lot of people write to me, often quite complimentary. You see also on Instagram some negative comments. So I'm glad people are reacting. It's much better that they react than ignore you. So all comments and feedback are welcome. I think the Italian audience will probably enjoy this because I've done a few shows recently in Italy and the response has been very positive. I've signed many books. So the Italians have really taken an interest in my work. So it's always fascinating for people to see how a photographer works from behind the scenes.